Hi, welcome to the video. I'm just going to just briefly go over 1,000, how it's used in the Bible. If you go to the description below, there should be access to PWCC here. And if you, after you open it off my Google Drive, you have the option to download as well. You certainly have my permission. So I list all the verses where 1,000 was used, not 700,000 or 67,000 or just 8,000 was used. All right, so I list them all here, so you can easily look them up and see how it's used. One thing I'd like to point out, the word millennium was never used in the Bible, and it's not an interpretation that Jews ever held to. When you read all these, it's never that the mindset or interpretation of millennium. Was never understood that way. Let's just go to 50:10. For every beast of the forest mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. This is not millennium hills. So the word every here is synonymous with 1,000. All right, it's just total hills. So at the time this was written, they say that there's 700 hills, and then 500 years later, there's 1,100 hills, and another 300 years later, there's 400 hills. This just covers it. All right, it's not exact number. We don't need to. It's irrelevant. We don't need to know the exact number. It's just the total hills. All right. Every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. So hope that makes sense. And then here's where 1,000 years is used. For 1,000 years, thy sight are by yesterday when it passed, and as a watch in the night. This is not a literal 1,000 years. All right. Just referring to a total number of years. My sight, it's irrelevant. We don't need to know exact number of years. All right. Here's another one, Ecclesiastes. Yeah, though he lived 1,000 years twice told, yet he has seen no good. Do not all go to one place. This is not a literal 1,000 years. All right. It's just a total years. Okay. It's irrelevant the exact number of years. All right. So. Another example, and it shall come to pass in that day that every place shall be where there were 1,000 vines and 1,000 silverlings. All right, it's just referring total vines and total silverlings. It's not. It's irrelevant the exact number. All right, hope that makes sense. Yeah. So when in Revelation 20 talk about 1,000 years, first of all, millennium is never used in the Bible. It was not the way they looked at 1,000, the Jewish people. All right, it's just total. All right. Now, the vision that I hold to, see, 1,000 can be a small number as well. Okay, and so it had nothing to do with magnitude number. It's just total. And we're so used to thinking that, oh, it must be a big number. And that's why most people, when they read Revelation 20, they just think it means a long time. Like I said, I've been across the entire spectrum. Actually, I haven't mentioned this video yet. Just the previous video I made, I mentioned it. But I've been across the entire spectrum, held every view except for the historicist view. And yeah, I used to hold it. To them, it meant a long time, and I held that for a long time. That view. It's just we don't need. You didn't need to know the exact number. It just means a long time, and then so then I did some more studying. Then I realized over time, through lots more studying, I was able to get refined the exact number of years. So it was actually from 30 AD, the first resurrection there, physical resurrection, to the day of Satan. It's actually a week-long process where Satan was released, and he's going into the Jews' Antichrist in the flesh, the synagogue of Satan, Revelation 2:9, 3:9. And so that was from March 20th to March 26th, 66 AD. So the 1,000 years is actually 36 years long. How can that be? That doesn't make any sense, right? Well, he's writing to the 7 churches in Asia. It pertained directly to them. So when they read the 1,000 years, they could identify, based on their experience, they could identify what exactly was saying for the first 36 years. So when it talks about future thing, it built their confidence. Yes, I can relate to those 36 years, 1,000 years. I can relate. I have confidence these future things are going to happen, about to take place at time near. I will come quickly, blah, 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 those time indicators. So it was a confidence builder for them. Okay, because they were going through those 1,000 years, 36 years was a very rough time for them. They were getting beheaded, not as a whole. Some people get beheaded and then they fled. They fled Israel and went to what we call Asia Minor. Now in the 30s and 40s, okay, and then later on, then the emperor comes to power, and then eventually he starts blaming the Christians for the fire, and now they're like, what do we do? There's a tremendous hatred towards Christians all across the entire Roman Empire. So, yeah. So anyway, hope that makes sense. It's an intense study. I encourage you to stay humble. Because the more humble you are, the further you're going to grow in this. Because that was the key to my understanding and all this. Staying humble, and of course, hermeneutics, science interpreting, look at things through the lens of hermeneutics. What the time indicator, the chronology, the audience relevance, grammar, and setting, all those things. So, alrighty. Anyway, so that's it for 1,000. That's all I want to say. So I gave you all the passages so you can look up yourself. We're 8,000 years. Again, I did not use like where it talks about 10,000 or 37,000. Just 8,000. Okay, so that's how it's used in Revelation 20. 8,000. All right. Well, thank you very much. Hope you continue to enjoy your studies, and you have an awesome day.